going on, guys? Vegito here, and today we're finally continuing my second most popular What If Land sponsored Ash. As we're finally heading into Johto. Yes, I have to take only Garchomp, Charizard, and Squirtle with him for this journey, leaving Ivysaur, Electabuzz, Gyarados, Aerodactyl, Pidgeotto, both of his Butterfree, Muck, Dragonair, and Snorlax Oaks, with Ash, Brock, and Misty leaving for Johto. After a few days, they arrive in Newbart Town, and Ash is registered for the Johto League. But in the process, Ash stops Team Rocket from kidnapping a Totodile. But after that, Ash should go get back on the road. Go to Violet City, and while on their way, Ash manages to catch a Mareep. When it comes to Ampharos, it can Mega Evolve into a Dragon type. And since Ash was sponsored by Lance, he'd be more inclined to catch more Dragon types. And he also needs a new trainer named Casey, who's a big baseball fan with her Chikorita, which he dominates with just Charizard. And after following their scheme of Team Rocket, Ash heads to a Heracross Preserve and he catches a Heracross. This is the same Heracross from Canon. Ash then tries to catch the Donphan, but fails since it already has a trainer. He heads to a dark forest where he needs to borrow a Hoot-Hoot to get through. Then Ash goes outside to help out an injured Stantler, but instead of leaving, Brock catches it. Honestly, I think Brock should have caught this Stantler since he did bond with it in Canon. And then Ash catches this Chikorita like in Canon. I ended up getting a decent amount of backlash for not including What If Ash Pokemon Time, which brings his team to 6. 6 already. But Ash temporarily loses the GS ball to Quagsire, and later they are at the Violet City Gym, meet Faulkner, and challenge him for a gym battle. As the battle is a 3-on-3 single battle, with Faulkner using Hoot-Hoot, Dodrio, and Pidgeot. And Ash wanted to not over-rely on Garchomp, use Mareep, Chikorita, and Charizard. Mareep and Hoot-Hoot come out first for Ash, and Faulkner with Mareep, he's opening the battle with a Thunder Shock. And after Hoot-Hoot goes for a peck, Mareep uses defensive with Cotton Guard, and using Thunderbolt, which ends up frying Hoot-Hoot, leaving Faulkner with only 2 Pokemon. Dodrio comes out second for Faulkner and then goes for Drill Peck and then Tri-Attack, which Mareep manages to take thanks to Cotton Guard. But Mareep uses another Thunderbolt, and Dodrio uses Drill Peck, which leaves Mareep on the brink of fainting, and Ash tries to switch Mareep for Chikorita. But unfortunately for Chikorita, Dodrio just knocks it out with a Drill Peck and Tri-Attack combo. But Chikorita did manage to land a Razor Leaf, making this battle 2-on-2. Mareep comes back out for Ash and uses Thunderbolt to finish off Dodrio, leaving Faulkner with just Pidgeot, which can up third for Faulkner, and uses a powerful Hurricane to knock out Mareep, leaving Ash with just his Charizard, which comes out last for Ash, and that match just goes in canon, allowing Ash to get the Zephyr badge, with Ash and Co. then getting back on the road, heading to his Port Azalea Town, and during that trip, Charizard leaves to train at Charizard Valley, which leads to an emotional goodbye between Charizard and Garchomp. And also on the way to Azalea Town, Ash deals with a bunch of Slowpoke in a drought, and then challenges Bugsy for a gym battle. This time about the 3-on-3 single battle, with Bugsy using Spinarak, Metapod, and Scyther. And Ash using Squirtle, Mareep, and Garchomp. Squirtle and Spinarak come out first, and he does String Shot and Poison Sting. But Squirtle fights him with Hydro Pump. And the Hydro Pump is a rocket to fire a Skull Bash, doing massive damage. But then Spinarak uses Cross Poison after a Shadow Sneak. But after that, Squirtle turns and uses Tackle, knocking out Spinarak, leaving Bugsy with just 2. Metapod comes out second for Bugsy and uses multiple Hardens and uses Tackle to knock out Squirtle, leaving Ash with 2 as well. Mareep comes out second for Ash, and he uses Rage Electric type moves to his advantage, and knocks out Metapod with a Thunderbolt, since Metapod's special defense stat is straight up horrible, leaving Bugsy with just his Scyther. As he quickly defeats Mareep with Slash and an X-Scissor, leaving Ash with just his starter, Garchomp, which now lasts for Ash, leaving Flamethrower and Dragon Rush, and Scyther fights with an X-Scissor and using Sword Stance to boost his offensive stats. Then he goes from their X-Scissor, but Garchomp uses Iron Head and Poison Jab, and finishes off Scyther with a Dragon Rush, allowing Ash to add the Hive Badge to his case. Now the gang head back on the road to Goldenrod, after Brock catches a Pineco and Squirrel reunites with the Squirrel Squad and leaves. leaving Ash with only 4 Pokemon, being Garchomp, Mareep, Heracross, and Chikorita. Now they're back on the road to Goldenrod City, and during their travels to Goldenrod, Ash saves the Houndour's life. And he's feeling dead until Ash, it joins his team, which brings his team back to 5. Then Ash and Misty have a 3-on-3 battle to decide who keeps the Totodile they found. And that's going to keep this one brief and get the main events. Both Mareep and Poliwag fall into Flaffy and Poliwhirl, with Ash winning the battle keeping Totodile. Both Totodile and Flaffy were taking the role of Ash's ace for this team, since Ampharos can Mega Evolve into a Dragon type, and Feraligatr is a Dragon-like Pokemon like his Gyarados, Aerodactyl, and Charizard. And with that, Ash got arrive at Goldenrod City, after putting Miki's Skarmory with Houndour, after managing to learn Flamethrower from Garchomp. Totodile gets rejected by an Azumarill, and then Ash battles Whitney, with Whitney's in Nidorina, Clefairy, and Miltank. And Ash needs Houndour, Totodile, and Garchomp. Houndour and Nidorina come out first, with Ash and Whitney with Nidorina opening battle with a Sludge Bomb. And Houndour uses a powerful Flamethrower and Dark Pulse combo. And Nidorina fighting back with Earth Power, dealing super effective damage to Houndour. And Houndour uses Flamethrower using Crunch to knock it out, leaving Whitney with only 2. Which is in the Clefairy, which is Moonblast to knock out Houndour. But he does Flamethrower dealing some damage to Clefairy, which leaves Ash with 2. Then he's sending Totodile as he goes for Ice Fang. And then Bites, as well as Water Gun. But after a while, Whitney forfeits the match since she can't afford to see her precious Clefairy get hurt. So this leaves Whitney with 1. Miltank comes out last for Whitney, and it uses Rollout to build up its speed, and it just steamrolls Totodile, flattening it like a pancake in a rather comedic fashion, which knocks it out, leaving Ash with only his trusty Garchomp. And Whitney is stumped from seeing the Shark Pokemon. Ash and Garchomp take advantage of this, so he uses Earthquake to stop Miltank. And he gets Tracks and uses Flamethrower to deal more damage to Miltank. And finishes off with a Dragon Rush, allowing Ash to add a Flame Badge to his case. Ash and Co head back on the road. Hold on the way to Ecruteak during a training session with Garchomp. Totodile manages to learn Aqua Tail. And then Ash go arrive at Ecruteak and challenge Morty, which that battle is 3-on-3 with Ash using Houndour, Totodile, and a Heracross. And Morty using Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. Which is weird since I think he should have had Mischievous. Ghastly and Heracross come out first, with Ghastly opening the battle with Nightshade and then Sludge Bomb. Heracross using Aerial Ace and using Throat Chop against Ghastly. But Ghastly uses Hypnosis and Dream Eater. Here the combination, which deal a lot of damage, and unfortunately for Ash, this would knock out Heracross. But Ghastly is rather weak from Heracross's attacks, leaving Ash with 2, so he's in a Totodile, which uses Bite, which makes the job, leaving Ghastly get knocked out. And after that, Morrison's in his Haunter, which uses Shadow Ball. But after that, Ash swaps out Totodile for Houndour, which uses Crunch and Flamethrower, and then Dark Pulse. But Haunter uses Dazzling Gleam, dealing massive damage to Houndour. But after that, Houndour manages to use Flamethrower, and Haunter uses Dazzling Gleam in a clash, which results in a double knockout. Then Ash and Morty send in both Gengar and Totodile. And this is a great battle, with Totodile eventually evolving into Croconaw, using Crunch to knock out Gengar, allowing Ash to get his Fog Badge, allowing Ash to get back on the road to Olivine. And on the way, Chikorita manages to evolve into Bayleaf while saving Ash from Team Rocket, and during that time, Flaffy learns Discharge. It makes Jasmine's Ampharos, which is sick, but Jasmine sends Ash and Co to get some medicine at Seawood Pharmacy. So the boat ride at Seawood begins after about 2 weeks. They arrive, so Brock gets the medicine and sends it back to Jasmine. So Ash challenges the gym for his 5th badge. And that battle is with Chuck. So that battle is a 2-on-2. With Ash using Bayleaf and Flaffy, and Chuck using Poliwrath and Machoke. Poliwrath and Flaffy go out first, with Flaffy opening battle with Discharge, using Cotton Guard for his defenses. So Poliwrath uses Belly Drum for its offensive stats, so he goes for Close Combat to deal massive damage to Flaffy. So Flaffy fights back with Thunderbolt to knock out Poliwrath, leaving Chuck with 1. Machoke on the last for Chuck. So then Flaffy and Machoke clash with Thunderbolt and Focus Blast, respectively, but after a while, Flaffy gets knocked out from a Focus Blast. Bailey comes out last for Ash, and this battle goes in canon. So Ash gets the Storm Badge. Now Ash has the Storm Badge, he decides to head back to Olivine, but first, he's gotta get through the Whirl Islands. So Ash manages to beat Misty in the World Cup using Gyarados, and while rescuing baby Lugia from Biff and Cassidy, Houndour manages to evolve into Houndoom while saving Ash's life. In a way, repaying Ash for saving its life as a Houndour. So after that, Ash arrives back in Hollowvine and challenges Jasmine, with them helping 2-on-2. We had Jasmine using Ampharos and Steelix. I know she didn't use Ampharos in canon, but I have something planned for it. Ash using Flaffy and Houndoom. Flaffy and Ampharos come out first, and this is a rather interesting battle, with Flaffy using Thunderbolt and Discharge. Ampharos uses Power Gem, then Dragon Pulse. This leaves Flaffy taking a lot of damage. And after a while, with Flaffy wanting to win, he manages to evolve into Ampharos, using Bulldoze and Dragon Pulse to knock out Jasmine's Ampharos. Steelix comes out last for Jasmine, with using Earthquake to knock out Ampharos in one clean shot. Houndoom comes out second for Ash, with using Flamethrower and Dart Pulse. After a while doing this, Steelix gets knocked out, but it's a very close fight. So now Ash gets his 6th gym badge. So now Ash heads over to Mahogany Town, and this time in the race, Gary manages to win, allowing him to get the egg. We'll see more about this later. And now for Lake of Rage stuff, where Ash reunites with Lance, and after they save a red Gyarados from Team Rocket, Ash and Lance agree to have a one-on-one exhibition battle. Ash uses Crocodile, and Lance uses his Dragonite. Crocodile and Dragonite come out for Ash and Lance, with Dragonite opening the battle with an Outrage, and Crocodile having the smaller size to its advantage, it hits Dragonite with an Ice Fang, and an Aqua Tail, which Dragonite responds with a Hyper Beam, and Dragon Dance. So now Crocodile uses Ice Fang again, and Dragonite uses Thunder. But out of sheer determination to win, Crocodile manages to evolve into a Feraligatr, and uses a combination of a Dragon Claw and Ice Punch to knock out Dragonite. Note, this is an exhibition battle, so this doesn't mean the Feraligatr is Elite 4 level yet. And now Ash had to help Pryce regain his love of Pokemon by finding his Piloswine and thawing it out, using Garchomp and Houndoom's combined Flamethrower. And after about a day, Ash and Pryce had their gym battle, with Ash using Houndoom and Heracross, and his Dugong and Piloswine, with Houndoom and Dugong come out first, and Houndoom uses his Flamethrower and then Thunder Fang deals some good damage. He uses Dugong, but Dugong uses Aqua Tail and Water Pulse to deal a good amount of damage to Houndoom. But Houndoom uses Thunder Fang to knock out Dugong, leaving Pryce with just one. Piloswine comes out last, which then uses Earthquake to knock out Houndoom one clean shot, leaving Ash with only one. Heracross comes out last for Ash, and he goes for close combat, and then Brick Break deals some massive damage. There's the Piloswine as it tries to go for Blizzard. But Heracross pushes through using their close combat and Brick Break combos to knock out Piloswine, allowing Ash to get the Glacier Badge. And now Ash has the Blackthorn, which Lance told him was a Dragon-type gym leader. And for a couple weeks, Ash arrives at the Blackthorn gym, where the battle is 3-on-3, with Ash using Garchomp, Charizard, which he caught back from Liza in Charizard Valley, and Ampharos, with Claire using Kingdra, Gyarados, and Dragonair. Kingdra and Ampharos come out first for Ash and Claire, with Ampharos using Thunderbolt and Discharge, and Kingdra using Dragon Pulse and Hydro Pump. But Ampharos fires back with his own Dragon Pulse, which deals super effective damage to Kingdra. Which after while of exchanging Dragon Pulses, Ampharos knocks out Kingdra, leaving Claire with 2, which Claire sends in Gyarados, which will be a good fight, but it's a double KO. After Gyarados uses Earthquake, and taking a Discharge and Thunderbolt, both from Ampharos, leaving Claire with just Dragonair, and Ash just Garchomp and Charizard. But Ash decides to use Garchomp, having Charizard as backup. Like the other Johto gym leaders, Claire knows what a Garchomp is, since Lance uses one. And now Dragonair and Garchomp clash with Dragon Pulse and Dragon Rush, and Iron Head respectively. This is a really good fight, with Claire almost beating Garchomp. But Garchomp ends up learning Outrage during this battle to take the win, allowing Ash to get the Rising Badge. In this case, without Claire being a sword loser, like how she is in the games. So now Ash has all 8 badges. All that's left for this part is the Johto League. So Ash still hatches every turn's Larvitar, as I don't think him getting sponsored by Lance would change that. So now for the Johto League. So Ash still gets to do all the preliminaries easier with his stronger Pokemon, and into the battles for the Victory Tournament, And so we can get to the good stuff, let's just keep those in canon. Uses Electabuzz, Ivysaur, and Houndoom against Vincent, and Feraligatr, Squirtle, and Aerodactyl against Macy, allowing him to go on to the Victory Tournament, where his first opponent is Gary, with him using Garchomp, Charizard, Bayleaf, Tauros, Heracross, and Snorlax, and Gary using Blastoise, Scizor, Arcanine, Donphan, Evolved matches Cannon Phanpy, Umbreon, and Alakazam. Tauros and Umbreon came out first, with Tauros trying to go for a Fisher, but honestly, this match probably goes in canon, even though Umbreon didn't fight in canon. Meaning Tauros get knocked out, but Gary decides to call back like Umbreon for later, in exchange for Donphan, with actually Bayleaf second, as Bayleaf tries to use Divine Whip to try and stop Donphan in his tracks. But Donphan fights it with Rollout and using Hyper Beam to fight Bayleaf. But he decides to jump up and slam Donphan to the ground with Vine Whip, and finishes off with a Body Slam, leaving Gary to send in his Blastoise, which uses Rapid Spin and Ice Beam in a combination to freeze Bayleaf solid and knock it out with her Ice Beam, leaving Ash with 4. So, we finally get the rematch, which we've all wanted, with Ash sending in Garchomp, which uses Flamethrower to counter Ice Beam. After getting close with Dragon Rush, it hits an Iron Head, bringing Blastoise close to fainting. But Blastoise has Garchomp off guard and uses an Ice Beam. But afterward, Garchomp uses Flamethrower in the ice to thaw itself out, and finishes off Blastoise with her Dragon Rush, leaving Gary with 4. Strikes into Alakazam, which uses Dazzling Gleam to quickly knock out Garchomp. But first, Garchomp hits Alakazam with an Earthquake attack, leaving Ash with Heracross, Charizard, and Snorlax. So he sends in Heracross to use Mega Horn, dealing a massive amount of damage, and Alakazam gets knocked out, leaving Gary with 3. So he sends in Arcanine, but with Ash thinking ahead, switches out Arcanine, Heracross, for Snorlax, and uses Hyper Beam. Even Ice Punch deals with Arcanine rather easily. But after that, Snorlax decides to use Body Slam with Hyper Beam to knock out Arcanine. So he's Gary to send in Scizor next. But again, this match goes into canon, leaving Ash with only Charizard and Heracross. So Charizard comes up, dealing with its Scizor rather easily, as well as dealing with Umbreon with a Seismic Toss. So meaning Ash beats Gary and advances to the quarterfinals, where he faces Harrison, with Harrison in his Canada team, and Ash using Dragonair, Feraligatr, Snorlax, Aerodactyl, Bayleaf, and Charizard. So Kecleon and Dragonair come out first, but since Dragonair is a lot bigger than Pikachu, it can't fully use the same strategy of hiding in the grass. So it decides attacking from the air will be the best method, with Dragonair using moves like Dragon Pulse and Flamethrower, as well as the occasional Ice Beam to deal with Kecleon, which means Sneasel comes in next, with Ash using his head for once, swaps out for Feraligatr, which just decimates Sneasel way easier than Totodile did, leaving Harrison with 4, while Ash still has his full team. So then Hypno comes out trying to deal Feraligatr, but Ash has another switch into Dragonair, but unfortunately has the same fate. Totodile didn't cannon by getting knocked out by Hypnosis and Suck It combo, which finally defeats one of Ash's Pokemon. So Snorlax out next, and that match goes into canon, with Hypno trying to use Dream Eater, Snorlax making him rather angry, and just decimates Hypno, leaving Harrison with only Steelix, Houndoom, and Blaziken, with Steelix and Aerodactyl coming out next, with Steelix using Iron Tail, and Thunderfang deal with Aerodactyl rather easily, leaving Ash with 4. With Snorlax coming out against knock out Steelix with Ice Punch, leaving Harrison with 2 while Ash still has 4, meaning Houndoom comes out next. He uses a countered Hyper Beam to knock out Snorlax, leaving Ash with Feraligatr, Bayleaf, and Charizard. So Bayleaf comes out next, and honestly, that match will go as a canon, with Bayleaf knocking out Houndoom with a Body Slam, which means Blaziken comes out and decimates Bayleaf with a little difficulty, which leaves Ash with either Feraligatr or Charizard. So Charizard comes out as that match goes as a canon, with Charizard barely losing to Blaziken. So Feraligatr then finishes the job, allowing Ash to move on to the top 4, where normally we see Harrison lose and John Dixon win the league. But Ash ended up losing to John Dixon since he's watched all of Ash's league battles, so he'd be able to come up with a perfect strategy to beat Ash's Pokemon. So meaning he got top 8 in the Indigo League, and top 4 in the Johto League, which is an improvement from the last league. He managed to be Gary, who beat him in the Indigo League. And with that, we'll leave off this timeline for right now. I'll go and get on out of here. Peace!